The topic that I chose for my final portfolio was why parents are against contact sports for youth. For the past couple years, I've been the president of a youth organization which catered to football and cheer. And you don't know how many parents we had come and they're just so worried about their child playing contact sports and the ages that we started at. The ages for our children were 5 through 15. Um, and in the past years, they would not start tackling until 7 and 8. But most recently, they started a program where the children can start tackling at 5. So it used to be where between 5, 6, and 7, it was flag football. Parents were happy with that. Their child was out on the field having a good time, but at the same time learning all the aspects of playing football, the rules, the regulations, the skill, and just having the experience. And just being a 5-year-old, actually, they got a chance to be out there and run, and they enjoyed it. But then at the same time, you have parents that wanted to know, well, when can my child tackle? So they came up with a program where at 5, 6, and 7, they were able to start tackling. Some parents were with it, some were totally against it. And as the president of the organization, myself and along with my staff, we kind of had to just kind of look at the child, check out their past experiences, what they may have played in the past, if they've played football with us before, to determine whether or not we felt like their child was ready to participate in contact. So what we decided was that if a child was brand new, a 5-year-old, that we will automatically have them play flag football. If they came in, they were 6, they had played flag the year before, okay, we can move them up to tackle. If they came in and they were 6 and they had not played before, we would suggest to the parent that they could start with flag. So some parents were really excited about it. Some were just really adamant that they were not going to allow their child to play contact sports, and at such a young age. So some of the things that, I wanted to explain to you guys is first what the actual definition of a contact sport is. So a contact sport is basically a sport in which the participants necessarily come into bodily contact with one another. Some sports are even scored on impacting an opponent, like mixed martial arts. While, mixed martial arts, your score is based off of what you do to your opponent. Then you have other sports like football and rugby where they are required to tackle. So that is what we would consider a contact sport. Now there, of course, are other contact sports, and there are a lot of sports that people would not consider contact: swimming, running, tennis, volleyball. A question, because it's not actually a contact sport, but you do come in contact with a lot of people, and playing that sport can lead to concussions from bumping into one another, hitting the ground really hard. So that's a great area for volleyball. Cheer is actually very much a contact sport. And it mostly is contact when they are performing routines where there's someone being thrown into the air, someone is being having to catch that person, someone is having to be a back spot, which is the person that makes sure that they are being caught. So cheer is considered as a contact sport. So what are parents afraid of? As a parent, I have boys, they play football. I have girls, they've cheered. And me being afraid of some of the things that can happen during sports, I did not let that affect me allowing my children to play, because I feel like, yes, the percentage could be higher playing that sport, But at the same time, your child can sustain a concussion riding their bike, falling off their skateboard, or hitting their head on the ground at the skating ring. So, but as a parent, we worry. So some of the things that, after doing my research, that parents were afraid of was the long-term effects, concussion, paralysis, little things like broken bones. But let's start with some numbers. So 1.6 to 3.8 million sports and recreation related concussions occur every year. 10% of all contact sport athletes sustain concussions, and brain injuries cause more death than any other sports injury. Football and brain injuries account for 65 to 95% of all fatalities. Okay? So now that's the bad things that parents look at when they're thinking about their child playing a contact sport. But then when you think about some of those things that your child can gain from being involved in sports, we don't think about how your child is learning to have a higher self-esteem. They're learning to be a team player. They're learning discipline, learning to work together. Children are learning to listen to and respect teammates, coaches, officials. They're learning to follow rules and respect opponents. And the chances of your child becoming a better human being from playing the sport is way higher than the chance of your child sustaining a concussion while playing a contact sport. So, as a parent, I would say just do some research. Look into your child's teams, the coach's experience, to determine whether or not you feel like your child is able to play some type of contact sport. And also look at your child, their maturity level, what you feel like, are they taking it serious? Because a lot of times injury does occur when a child isn't taking it serious. So just think about it before you totally not want to do it. Your child may want to, and he or she may be successful in it. Thank you for your time.